Have you ever felt like you're fighting a war that's rigged against you? Lust, distractions and temptations surround us every single day, designed to control you, weaken you, and make you less than you're meant to be. But here's the hard truth no one tells you. You're not a victim. You have the power to escape this trap, master your desires, and become the man you were born to be. Today, we're diving deep into how you can break free from the chains of lust and take back your masculinity, using principles that have stood the test of time. If you're ready to conquer what's holding you back, stick with me until the end of this video, because this will change your life. Lust is everywhere. It's in your phone, on your social media feed, and even walking past you in the streets. And it's not by accident. It's a system designed to weaken you. This isn't about blaming women or society. This is about you and the choices you make as a man. The truth is, lust isn't just a distraction. It's stealing your potential. It's robbing you of your energy, your ambition, and your ability to focus on what really matters. Men today are drowning in distractions, and most don't even realize they're slaves to their desires. Are you ready to stop being a slave? Are you ready to reclaim your mind, your body, and your power? If you are, drop a comment below. I'm ready, because this is the start of a conversation every man needs to have. Now let's get started. Number 1. Lust is the ultimate weapon against you. Every day you're walking into a battlefield, but you don't even realize it. Lust is the weapon, and you're the target. Think about it. Open Instagram right now. Swipe through a few stories. What do you see? Half-naked women, seductive looks, and carefully curated content designed to make your brain light up like a Christmas tree. Now ask yourself this: why is it everywhere? Why are you bombarded with these images the moment you unlock your phone? It's not random. It's a system. Lust is the oldest form of control. Civilizations have risen and fallen because men were distracted by their desires. Lust has toppled kingdoms, wrecked families, and turned great men into hollow shells. And today, it's more potent than ever. Why? Because it's no longer confined to what you see in real life. It's amplified, broadcasted, and injected into your life 24/7 through screens. The corporations and platforms know exactly what they're doing. They want you addicted. They want you scrolling, chasing dopamine, and consuming content without ever stopping to think. Lust is their way of keeping you weak and distracted. Here's the harsh truth. Every time you give in to lust, you lose a piece of your power. Every time you let yourself be seduced by the fantasy on your screen, you're letting someone else control your mind. The more you indulge, the more you're enslaved. The algorithms are feeding your addiction. Every like, every view, every second you spend watching something that stirs up your lust, it's feeding the beast. And what's worse, you're doing it willingly. You're handing over your strength on a silver platter. But it doesn't have to be this way. The first step to breaking free is realizing you're in a trap. Most men don't even know they're caught. They think it's normal to feel this way, to be consumed by these desires. But let me tell you, this isn't normal. This isn't who you're meant to be. You're meant for more than chasing empty pleasures. You're meant to be a leader, a protector, a builder of something greater than yourself. The moment you understand this, you begin to take back control. When was the last time you truly felt in control of your own mind? Can you even remember? Lust has this sneaky way of creeping in and taking over without you noticing. It starts small, a quick glance, a lingering thought. But before you know it, it's running the show. Suddenly, your energy is gone, your focus is shattered, and your time is wasted. And for what? A few fleeting moments of satisfaction that leave you feeling emptier than before. If you're tired of being a pawn in this game, it's time to act. You need to start seeing lust for what it really is, a tool of control. It's not about desire, it's about manipulation. The system doesn't care about your happiness or fulfillment. It cares about profit, clicks, and keeping you hooked. And here's the brutal truth. The longer you stay in this trap, the harder it will be to get out. But you're not powerless. You have a choice. You can decide right now to take back your life. It won't be easy. Nothing worth having ever is. But the alternative is living as a slave to your impulses, forever chasing something that will never satisfy you. So ask yourself, what kind of man do you want to be? Are you going to keep letting lust control you, or are you ready to fight back? The choice is yours. Number 2, blaming women is weak. Take responsibility. Most men, when they struggle with lust, default to blaming women. They look at what women wear, how they act, and the way society glorifies certain behaviors, and they point the finger. It's their fault, they say. If they dressed more modestly, if they acted differently, if society didn't encourage this, I wouldn't feel this way. It's an easy excuse, but it's a weak one. And here's why. Blaming women for your lust is like blaming fire for burning you when you stick your hand in it. Fire is doing what fire does. It burns. The problem isn't the fire, it's your decision to play with it. Women have always existed, and they've always dressed in ways that reflect the culture and times. The difference now is that you've been conditioned to see them as the source of your struggle, instead of owning your own reactions. Women are not the enemy. They're not the ones forcing you to stare, to fantasize, or to act on your impulses. That's on you. Real men take responsibility for their actions, their thoughts, and their desires. Weak men look for someone else to blame. And the moment you start blaming women, you give away your power. You're saying, I'm not in control of myself. My actions depend on what someone else does. Do you see how pathetic that sounds? The truth is, if you're letting what someone else wears or how they act dictate your behavior, you're not a man, you're a puppet. Real masculinity is about control, discipline, and strength. It's about looking at the world as it is, not as you wish it would be, and adapting to it. It's about saying, I can't control what other people do, but I can control myself. Think about it this way. If a woman walks past you wearing something provocative, and your immediate reaction is lust, that's a reflection of your own lack of discipline. It's not about her, it's about you. If you had true control over your mind, her presence wouldn't shake you. You'd see her as just another person, not as an object of desire. And isn't that what we all want? To be the kind of man who's so in control of himself that nothing can faze him? This is where accountability comes in. You need to stop making excuses for your behavior. Stop blaming the world around you and start looking in the mirror. Ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? What's going on inside me that makes me so susceptible to these distractions? The answer isn't out there, it's in you. And here's the hard truth most men don't want to hear. Until you take full responsibility for your actions, you'll never be free. Blaming others is easy. Owning your mistakes and weaknesses is hard. But it's the only way to grow. It's the only way to become the kind of man who doesn't just survive in this world, but thrives. Taking responsibility doesn't mean letting people walk all over you or accepting everything around you as okay. It means focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. It means recognizing that your mind is your domain, and no one else has the right to control it unless you let them. And it means understanding that your reactions, your thoughts and your actions are 100% within your power. So the next time you catch yourself blaming someone else for your struggles, stop and think, are you acting like a man or are you making excuses? Are you taking control or are you giving it away? Remember, every excuse you make is a chain you put on yourself. And every time you take responsibility, you break free. This is the mindset you need to cultivate if you want to conquer lust and become the man you're meant to be. It's not about them, it's about you. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll start seeing real change in your life. Number 3. Porn is killing your potential. Pornography is a poison. You might tell yourself it's harmless, that it's just a private escape, or that everyone does it. But deep down, you know it's a problem. You feel it every time you close your browser, every time the rush fades, and every time you're left with that hollow, empty feeling. That's not satisfaction, that's your soul screaming for something more. Porn isn't just entertainment. It's a weapon aimed directly at your mind, your confidence, and your future. Every time you indulge in it, you're training your brain to crave a cheap, artificial high. Think about how it affects you. You're not just watching it, you're building habits around it. Every click, every session, every late-night binge is reinforcing a cycle of addiction. And what does that addiction cost you? Let's break it down. First, it destroys your ambition. The energy you should be putting into your goals, your fitness, your relationships, or your career is instead being drained into a screen. Do you ever notice how lethargic you feel afterward? How your motivation disappears? That's no coincidence. Porn saps your drive. It rewires your brain to chase instant gratification instead of long-term success. How can you expect to achieve anything great if you're constantly giving in to the easiest, laziest form of pleasure? Second, it wrecks your confidence. Porn creates a false reality, a fantasy world where everything is exaggerated and fake. The more you consume it, the more disconnected you become from real relationships and real intimacy. You start comparing yourself to these actors, these edited, choreographed performances, and you feel inadequate. Over time, this destroys your self-esteem. You begin to doubt yourself, your abilities, and your worth as a man. Third, it ruins your ability to connect with real women. How many men out there are struggling to build meaningful relationships because they've been conditioned by porn to see women as objects rather than as people? Porn teaches you to view women through a lens of lust and instant gratification, not through respect or genuine connection. It's no wonder so many men today are struggling with loneliness and failed relationships. They've spent years feeding an addiction that blinds them to what real love looks like. Finally, porn is stealing your time. Think about how many hours you've wasted on it. Add up all those late nights, all those quick sessions that turned into hours, and ask yourself, what could I have done with that time? How much progress could you have made toward your goals? How much closer could you be to the man you want to become? The truth is, porn isn't just harmless entertainment. It's a thief. And every second you give to it is a second you'll never get back. So what can you do? It starts with making a decision. You have to decide that enough is enough. You have to decide that you're tired of feeling weak, tired of living in a cycle of regret and shame, and tired of being less than you're capable of being. This isn't just about quitting porn, it's about reclaiming your life. The first step is to create barriers. Delete the apps, block the websites, and remove the triggers that make it easy to fall back into the habit. But don't stop there. Replace that habit with something better. When you feel the urge, channel that energy into something productive. Go for a run, hit the gym, read a book. Do something, anything, that builds you up instead of tearing you down. The next step is accountability. Talk to someone you trust. Tell them about your struggle and ask them to hold you accountable. This isn't about shame, it's about support. Surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed, not those who enable your weaknesses. And remember, you're not alone in this. Millions of men are fighting the same battle. The difference is, some are choosing to fight, while others are choosing to stay in the cycle. Which one are you? Lastly, focus on the bigger picture. Porn is a symptom, not the root cause. It's a way of escaping from something deeper: stress, boredom, loneliness, or a lack of purpose. If you want to break free for good, you need to address the root. Find your purpose. Set meaningful goals. Fill your life with activities that excite and challenge you. The more fulfilled you are, the less power porn will have over you. This is a fight worth winning. You're not just breaking a habit. You're reclaiming your mind, your confidence, and your future. Imagine the man you'll be a year from now if you start today. Imagine the strength, the focus, and the sense of pride you'll feel knowing you overcame something that once controlled you. That's what's waiting for you on the other side. The question is, are you willing to fight for it? Number 4. Recognize and defeat your triggers. Lust doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not some mysterious force that strikes you at random. It's triggered by specific patterns, environments, and habits. If you want to break free, you need to understand what's setting you off. Think about it. Every time you've fallen into the trap of lust, there was something that triggered it. Maybe it was a stressful day at work. Maybe it was boredom late at night. Maybe it was something you saw or heard that planted a seed in your mind. The point is, lust doesn't just happen, it's invited. The first step to defeating your triggers is awareness. You can't fight what you don't understand. Start by paying attention to when and where you feel the strongest pull toward lust. Is it when you're alone? When you're tired? When you're scrolling through social media? Write it down. Keep a journal for a week and track every time you feel tempted. At the end of the week, look for patterns. You'll start to see a roadmap of your triggers. Once you've identified your triggers, the next step is to remove them. This isn't about avoiding life. It's about setting boundaries that protect your mind. If social media is a trigger, take a break from it. If certain environments make you vulnerable, avoid them. If stress is a trigger, find healthier ways to cope with it. This isn't weakness, it's strategy. A smart man knows how to set himself up for success. But what about the triggers you can't avoid? What about the ones that are out of your control? This is where mental discipline comes in. You need to train your mind to respond differently to those triggers. This doesn't happen overnight, but it's possible. Start by reframing how you see the trigger. Instead of letting it control you, see it as an opportunity to grow stronger. Every time you resist a trigger, you're building your discipline. Every time you say no, you're proving to yourself that you're in control. One of the most effective ways to build this mental discipline is through mindfulness. When you feel a trigger coming on, don't react immediately. Pause. Take a deep breath. Acknowledge the feeling without giving in to it. This simple act of mindfulness can give you the space you need to make a better choice. Over time, you'll start to notice that the triggers lose their power. They're still there, but they don't control you anymore. Another powerful tool is visualization. Picture yourself in the moment of temptation, but instead of giving in, imagine yourself walking away. Imagine the strength and pride you'll feel knowing you chose discipline over desire. Visualize the man you want to be and let that image guide your actions. This isn't just about avoiding triggers, it's about transforming them. Every time you resist, every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you're rewiring your brain. You're breaking old habits and building new ones. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Triggers that once had a hold on you will start to lose their grip. You'll look back and realize they no longer have the power they once did. The truth is, triggers are everywhere. You can't control the world, but you can control how you respond to it. The key is preparation. Know your triggers. Have a plan for how you'll deal with them. And remember, every time you face a trigger, you're being given a chance to grow stronger. Lust isn't your master. You are. And the moment you take control of your triggers, you take control of your life. Number 5. Replace lust with purpose. Lust thrives in the absence of purpose. When you're not focused on something meaningful, your mind starts to wander, looking for distractions to fill the void. And what's the easiest, most accessible distraction for men? Lust. It's quick, it's easy, and for a fleeting moment, it feels good. But here's the truth. That feeling is fake. It's a counterfeit version of the real satisfaction that comes from pursuing a purpose. Think about the most driven, successful men you admire. Do you think they spend their time chasing lust, scrolling endlessly, or letting their minds be consumed by desires? Of course not. They're too busy building, creating, and achieving. They're too focused on their purpose to be distracted by the noise. And that's the key. You don't overcome lust by fighting it directly. You overcome it by replacing it with something greater. Purpose gives you direction. It's the compass that guides your decisions and shapes your habits. When you have a clear purpose, everything else becomes secondary. The temptations, the distractions, the fleeting pleasures, they all lose their grip on you. Why? Because you're focused on something that matters. You're not just existing, you're living with intention. But here's the challenge. Most men today don't have a purpose. They're drifting through life without a clear sense of direction. They're working jobs they hate, spending their free time on meaningless entertainment and wondering why they feel unfulfilled. It's no surprise that lust becomes such a powerful force in their lives. Without purpose, they're left vulnerable to whatever distractions come their way. If this sounds like you, it's time to change. It's time to find your purpose and make it the center of your life. This isn't about some abstract idea or lofty goal. It's about finding something tangible, something you can commit to and work toward every single day. Maybe it's building a business, mastering a skill, or creating a legacy. Whatever it is, it needs to be something that excites you, challenges you, and pushes you to grow. Purpose isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you create. It starts with asking yourself the right questions. What do I care about? What am I good at? What kind of impact do I want to have on the world? These aren't easy questions, but they're worth answering. The more clarity you have about your purpose, the more powerful it becomes. When you find your purpose, something amazing happens. The things that used to distract you start to fade away. You're no longer interested in wasting time on meaningless pursuits because you're too busy building something real. You're no longer controlled by lust because your energy is being channeled into something productive. And most importantly, you start to feel alive in a way you never have before. Living with purpose isn't just about achieving goals. It's about becoming the kind of man you're proud to be. It's about waking up every morning with a sense of excitement and going to bed every night knowing you gave it your all. It's about living with passion, intensity, and focus. And the best part? The more you invest in your purpose, the more it gives back to you. But finding and living your purpose isn't easy. It requires discipline, effort, and sacrifice. You'll have to let go of old habits, break free from your comfort zone, and face challenges head-on. But the rewards are worth it. There's no greater feeling than knowing you're living up to your potential. So, where do you start? Start by taking action. It doesn't matter how small the step is. What matters is that you're moving forward. Sign up for that course you've been thinking about. Start that side hustle you've been dreaming of. Commit to a workout routine that challenges you. The point is to start building momentum. Purpose isn't something you find overnight. It's something you build over time. And here's the thing. The more you invest in your purpose, the less room there is for lust. Every time you focus on your goals, you're taking energy away from your distractions. Every time you make progress, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more. And every time you choose purpose over pleasure, you're becoming a stronger, better version of yourself. Imagine this. A year from now, you look back at the man you used to be. the man who was controlled by lust, who lacked direction, who felt stuck, and you realize how far you've come. You're not that man anymore. You're someone who's focused, disciplined, and driven. You're someone who's living with purpose. That's what's waiting for you on the other side of this journey. The question is, are you ready to take the first step? Number 6. Love is a choice, not an emotion. The modern world has sold us a lie about love. It tells us that love is all about feelings, chemistry, and passion. It tells us that love is something that happens to you, something you fall into and out of without any control. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Love isn't an emotion, it's a choice. And if you want to build a meaningful, lasting relationship, you need to understand this. Lust and love are often confused, but they couldn't be more different. Lust is about what you can take. Love is about what you can give. Lust is fleeting. It's here one moment and gone the next. Love is enduring. It grows stronger over time. Lust is selfish. It's focused on your own desires. Love is selfless. It's about putting someone else's needs before your own. If you're chasing lust, you'll always end up empty. But if you choose love, you'll find fulfillment that lasts. The problem is, most men don't know how to choose love. They've been conditioned by society to prioritize instant gratification over long-term commitment. They've been taught to view relationships as transactional, as something that's only worthwhile if it serves their needs. But true love doesn't work that way. It requires effort, patience, and sacrifice. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Love isn't just about finding the right person, it's about being the right person. It's about showing up every day and choosing to invest in your relationship. It's about being honest, loyal, and dependable. It's about being someone your partner can trust and rely on. And most importantly, it's about growing together. A real relationship isn't static, it's dynamic. It evolves as you and your partner grow and change. But here's the catch. You can't truly love someone else until you've learned to love yourself. This doesn't mean being selfish or arrogant. It means respecting yourself enough to set high standards for your life. It means taking care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. It means knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than you deserve. When you love yourself, you bring your best self to your relationships. And when you bring your best self, you attract partners who do the same. Building a relationship based on love, not lust, takes work. It requires communication, vulnerability, and a willingness to face challenges together. But it also brings incredible rewards. There's nothing more powerful than a partnership built on mutual respect and shared values. There's nothing more fulfilling than knowing you're with someone who sees you for who you truly are and loves you anyway. And there's nothing more inspiring than being part of a relationship that pushes you to be the best version of yourself. Love is a choice. It's a choice you make every day, in every interaction, in every decision. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. And the sooner you start choosing love over lust, the sooner you'll experience the depth, the joy, and the meaning that a real relationship can bring. Are you ready to make that choice? The power is in your hands. Number 7. The Stoic Path to Mastery. Stoicism isn't just some ancient philosophy, it's a blueprint for living as a man who is in control of his emotions, his mind, and his actions. It's about understanding that while you can't control everything that happens around you, you can always control how you respond. And in today's world, filled with distractions, temptations, and endless noise, this mindset is more important than ever. When it comes to mastering lust and desire, Stoicism gives you the tools to regain control. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events, Realize this, and you will find strength. What does that mean? It means the battle is not out there. It's in here, in your mind. Lust doesn't start with what you see. It starts with how you interpret it. You see something tempting, and your mind creates a story around it. That's where the power of Stoicism comes in. It teaches you to rewrite that story. A Stoic man doesn't let his desires dictate his actions. He understands that fleeting pleasures are just that, fleeting. They come and go, leaving you no better off than before. What he values is long-term fulfillment, the kind of satisfaction that comes from mastering himself and living with purpose. This isn't about denying your desires, it's about rising above them. It's about being the man who chooses discipline over indulgence, control over chaos, and strength over weakness. The first step in applying Stoicism is understanding the concept of control. Epictetus, another Stoic master, taught that there are two things in life: what is within your control and what is not. Your thoughts, your actions, and your choices. These are within your control. The way others behave, the circumstances you face, and the distractions around you, these are not. So why waste your energy on things you can't change? A Stoic focuses all his effort on mastering himself, knowing that this is where true freedom lies. When it comes to lust, this mindset is a game changer. Imagine you see something tempting, an image, a video, a person. A man without control is immediately swept away by his desires. He reacts impulsively, letting his lust take over. But a Stoic man pauses. He recognizes the feeling, acknowledges it, and then lets it pass. He doesn't act on it because he knows it's just a fleeting impulse, not a reflection of who he is. This is the power of self-mastery. Stoicism also teaches you to embrace discomfort. In today's world, we're conditioned to seek comfort at all costs. We avoid pain, hardship, and struggle, preferring the easy path even if it leads to mediocrity. But the Stoics understood that discomfort is where growth happens. They practiced voluntary hardship, choosing to endure challenges to build their resilience. Why? Because they knew that a man who can face discomfort without flinching is a man who can handle anything life throws at him. Think about how this applies to your battle with lust. Resisting temptation is uncomfortable. It's easier to give in, to take the quick fix, to indulge your desires. But what does that get you? A moment of pleasure followed by a lifetime of regret. On the other hand, choosing discipline, enduring the discomfort of saying no, builds your strength. It reinforces your self-control, your character, and your sense of pride. Every time you resist, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your impulses. Another key Stoic practice is visualization. The Stoics would imagine the challenges they might face in a day and mentally prepare for them. This isn't about expecting the worst, it's about being ready for it. When it comes to lust, you can use this technique to anticipate your triggers and plan your response. Picture yourself in a tempting situation. Imagine how you might feel, what thoughts might arise, and then visualize yourself handling it with discipline. See yourself walking away, staying in control, and feeling the pride that comes with it. By practicing this, you're training your mind to respond the way you want, not the way your impulses demand. Finally, Stoicism reminds us that life is short. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on mortality, reminding himself that his time on earth was limited. This perspective puts everything into focus. Do you really want to spend your precious days chasing temporary pleasures that leave you empty? Or do you want to use your time to build something meaningful, to leave a legacy, to become the man you were meant to be? The Stoic path is about choosing the latter. It's about recognizing that every moment is an opportunity to grow, to improve, and to live with purpose. Number 8. The war on your mind. There's a war being waged against you right now, and most men don't even realize it. It's not a physical war, it's a war for your mind. Every time you scroll through your feed, every time you turn on the TV, every time you open a browser, you're stepping onto a battlefield. The enemy, algorithms, corporations and systems designed to exploit your weaknesses. Their goal, to keep you distracted, addicted, and under control. Think about it. Why do social media platforms show you the content they do? Why do they push certain images, videos, and trends? It's not because they care about you, it's because they care about keeping your attention. Attention equals profit, and what grabs attention faster than anything else? Lust. The platforms know this, and they use it against you. They feed you content that stirs up your desires because they know you'll keep coming back for more. But it doesn't stop there. Advertisers jump on the bandwagon, using lust to sell everything from cars to cologne. They don't sell products, they sell fantasies. They show you images of success, beauty, and desire, convincing you that buying their product will bring you closer to that fantasy. And the more you buy into it, the more you're pulled away from reality. This constant bombardment isn't just distracting, it's dangerous. It conditions your mind to seek instant gratification, to chase superficial pleasures, and to prioritize consumption over creation. It numbs your ability to think critically, to focus deeply, and to connect authentically. It turns you into a passive consumer, not an active creator. The worst part, most men are unaware this is happening. They think they're in control, but they're not. They're being manipulated, day in and day out, without even realizing it. The first step to winning this war is awareness. You need to recognize the tactics being used against you. Every ad, every algorithm, every clickbait headline, it's all designed to keep you hooked. Once you see the game for what it is, you can start to take back control. But awareness isn't enough. You need to take action. You need to create boundaries that protect your mind from these attacks. Limit your time on social media. Unfollow accounts that feed your distractions. Use technology as a tool, not a trap. Remember, every minute you spend consuming is a minute you're not creating. And every time you give in to their tactics, you're handing over your power. The war on your mind is real, but you have the power to fight back. It starts with taking control of what you consume, how you spend your time, and what you focus on. The more you reclaim your attention, the more freedom you'll have to build the life you want. This isn't just about resisting lust. It's about becoming the master of your mind and, ultimately, your destiny. Number 9. Build discipline like a muscle. Discipline is the foundation of every great man. Without it, even the best intentions crumble. But here's what most people get wrong. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's not a gift handed to a select few. It's a skill, a muscle, and just like any muscle, it grows stronger the more you use it. But if you neglect it, it weakens, leaving you at the mercy of your impulses. Think about a time when you felt truly in control of your life. Maybe it was when you stuck to a workout routine, crushed a work project, or resisted a temptation that had been holding you back. That feeling of power, of mastery over yourself. That's discipline. And it's one of the most rewarding feelings a man can experience. But discipline doesn't come from big, dramatic gestures. It's built in the small, everyday choices you make. Every time you hit snooze instead of getting up, every time you skip the gym because you don't feel like it, every time you let yourself get distracted instead of staying focused, you're weakening your discipline. And every time you push through discomfort, stay consistent, and stick to your commitments, you're strengthening it. Discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up and doing the work, even when you don't want to. But let's be honest, building discipline isn't easy. It's hard to choose the harder path when the easier one is right in front of you. It's hard to delay gratification when instant pleasure is just a click away. And it's hard to stay consistent when life throws obstacles in your way. But that's exactly why discipline is so valuable. It's what separates the men who achieve greatness from the ones who settle for mediocrity. Discipline starts with a decision to stop letting your emotions and impulses control you, a decision to take ownership of your life and your choices, and a decision to commit to the process, no matter how hard it gets. This isn't about motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when motivation fades. To build discipline, you need to start small. Pick one area of your life where you know you need to improve and commit to it. Maybe it's waking up earlier, hitting the gym consistently, or cutting out distractions during work. Whatever it is, focus on doing it every day, no excuses. At first, it will be hard. You'll want to quit. But if you push through, it will get easier. Over time, that one habit will become part of who you are. And then you can build on it, adding more habits and more challenges. One of the best ways to strengthen discipline is by embracing discomfort. Most people avoid discomfort like the plague, but that's where growth happens. Every time you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you're expanding your capacity for discipline. Take cold showers, push yourself harder in your workouts, tackle the tasks you've been procrastinating on. These small acts of discipline will build momentum, making it easier to tackle the bigger challenges in your life. Another key to building discipline is keeping your promises to yourself and to others. When you tell yourself you're going to do something, follow through. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you're teaching your brain that your word doesn't matter. But every time you keep a promise, you're reinforcing your self-respect and your belief in your own abilities. This is how you build trust with yourself, which is essential for discipline. Discipline isn't about being rigid or never having fun. It's about creating structure and boundaries that allow you to thrive. It's about knowing when to say no and when to say yes. It's about being in control of your life instead of letting life control you. And the more disciplined you become, the more freedom you'll have. Freedom to pursue your goals, to build the life you want, and to become the man you're meant to be. Number 10. Choose slave or king. Here's the ultimate question every man needs to ask himself. Are you going to live as a slave or a king? This isn't just a metaphor, it's a mindset. A slave is someone who's controlled by their desires, their fears, and their circumstances. A king, on the other hand, is someone who controls his mind, his actions, and his destiny. The choice is yours, but the difference between the two couldn't be more profound. A slave reacts to life. He's driven by impulses, constantly chasing pleasure and avoiding pain. He lets his emotions dictate his actions, making excuses for his failures instead of owning up to them. He blames others for his problems and waits for someone else to save him. He lives in a state of dependence, always looking for the easy way out. And because of this, he remains stuck, never achieving his full potential. A king, however, acts with intention. He doesn't let his emotions or impulses control him. He makes decisions based on his values and goals, not on what feels good in the moment. He takes full responsibility for his life, owning his successes and his failures. He's not afraid to face challenges, knowing that every obstacle is an opportunity to grow stronger. He leads himself first, setting the example for others to follow. And because of this, he creates a life of purpose, power, and fulfillment. The difference between a slave and a king isn't their circumstances, it's their mindset. It's not about where you are right now, it's about how you choose to respond to your situation. A slave says, "I can't." A king says, "I will." A slave asks, "Why me?" A king asks, "What can I learn from this?" A slave waits for permission. A king takes action. So, how do you step into your role as a king? It starts with reclaiming your power. Stop giving away your energy to distractions, temptations, and negativity. Stop letting other people's opinions dictate your choices. And stop settling for anything less than you're capable of. A king doesn't wait for the perfect moment. He creates it. He doesn't make excuses. He finds solutions. And he doesn't shy away from responsibility. He embraces it. Being a king doesn't mean you'll never struggle. It doesn't mean you'll never feel doubt, fear, or temptation. But it does mean you'll face those challenges with courage and determination. It means you'll rise every time you fall, learning from your mistakes and growing stronger with each setback. It means you'll keep moving forward even when the path is hard, because you know the destination is worth it. Every day you have a choice. Will you live as a slave, controlled by your desires and circumstances? Or will you rise as a king, mastering yourself and creating your destiny? This isn't just a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. It's choosing discipline over indulgence, purpose over pleasure, and strength over weakness. It's choosing to be the man you were born to be. The world needs more kings, men who lead with integrity, strength, and vision, men who inspire others by the way they live, men who don't settle for mediocrity but strive for greatness. And it starts with you. The choice is in your hands. So, which will it be? Slave or king? The answer will define your life. Lust doesn't define you, your actions do. Every man faces this battle, but not every man wins. The difference is the choices you make starting today. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most. Now it's time to act. Drop a comment below. I take back my power. Let the world know you're done being a slave. If this video inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button so YouTube knows this message matters and recommends it to more men who need to hear it. Share it with a brother who's ready to level up. Let's build a community of men who refuse to settle for less than they deserve.